The debate about English as an international language has some implications for teacher education as well. There are certain challenges which ELT industry is confronting in this regard. Let's have a look at them. If we consider English as a potential variety for international communication in international context situations, we have to realize that we have to transform its teaching in various parts of the world. We have to train language teachers for the specific purposes of international communication. And teachers may be able to realize the importance of English as an international language through such training. We see that many non-native English-speaking teachers are embracing new norms of English as an international language, which is a variety they can claim as their own. But at the same time, we could see that there are many non-native English-speaking teachers who still consider native norms as the best ones, and therefore they confirm the hegemony created by the native speakers in the profession of English language teaching across the world. This reduces non-native speakers to perennial learners only, and it takes them away from the claim of the legitimate users of English language. In this regard, we could see, and many researchers have pointed, that a lot of work is still to be done in order to make English as an international language the rightful replacement of the native varieties of English in international situations, and non-native English-speaking teachers as a rightful change for the native English-speaking teachers in international English language teaching situations. As I said earlier, for such a change, we need to have a transformation and a focus on English language educators' training. We could provide them more confidence, which could give them the right estimate of their skills and could enable them to have a grip on various language skills. They can be given longer exposure to language and various language skills so that they may feel confident about their language skills, especially speaking skills. They should also be given awareness about the critical thinking regarding the status of English as an international language. It's just not a shift over to a new variety or a form of language. Rather, it's like adopting a new way of thinking. They must be trained for embracing such a new way of thinking. They should also be introduced to new approaches of training. For example, the transformative approach, which focuses not only on traditional ways or ideologies, but also takes the learners, or in this case the teachers, away from these traditional thoughts and think about transforming themselves on new lines. Such a training could also engage non-native English-speaking teachers in various discussions regarding English as an international language, which may promote a vision of their own regarding the change in case of English as an international language as a potential language of teaching within ELT classrooms. Such a debate might bring them to a point which would talk about the renationalization of English language. That means that English language no longer belongs to a certain community of Anglophone countries, rather it belongs to its users across the world. So the ownership of English has shifted from a typical locality to the wider community of its speakers in the world. We could see, and the studies have shown us, that there is an increasing interest among language educators regarding English as an international language. So such a training might be facilitated by such positive attitudes. There could possibly be other ideological concerns which may be talked about in such trainings for the prospective teachers in the field of English as an international language. We could see the issues of class which afflicted traditional ELT, because we have seen that English in many EFL and ESL societies was reduced only to an elite class, and its professionals usually also belong to the same class. So we could possibly assume that when we are aiming to spread English on more democratic lines in form of English as an international language, we would possibly think about the issue of class in this kind of the spread of English language. We could also think about outsourcing the jobs or the distribution of jobs in various international settings. This might be reframed on a lines where non-native English speaking teachers might get a better share. The policymakers and researchers should also think about the imperialism of English language tests, which still are dominated by the native varieties of English language. In order to promote English as an international language, the policymakers would have to think about developing tests based on this new variety of language. And in this way, the communicative aspects of this international language may be focused on such tests. If teachers can personally experience the diversity of English language, and they could include that diversity in their teaching and professional experiences, they could reflect critically on such changes in the status and roles of English, and finally perceive this change and could transform this change to their learners. They could rightly claim their status as proficient English language teachers, and such claim may be transferred to their learners as well.